I've never talked about the band breakup properly on purpose. Do you want to know the reason the band broke up?
I do want to know the reason the band broke up.
Most people, they assume there was a problem with the band. The problem was with me and the manager. I wanted to get a new manager, and the band didn't want to get a new manager. So when it came down to it, it was, well, if we have to choose, we're going to keep the manager, and we're going to get a new you, which is exactly what they did.
Interesting.
I sued the manager at first, and then I called the band, and I'm like, hey, we're not getting along. We don't like each other. We're not talking. But we need to talk about this, because this is our business. This is our manager. And I'm suing him as my manager, but he's still your manager. So we need to talk clearly. And then we went on tour for a month and didn't talk about it. And it was so bad. So bad.
Was this the last tour?
This was, yeah, you think? And it just was so tense. It was so tense and escalated, and then by then it was just like locked in. There was no way to have a civilized conversation. I think one of the main reasons the Sick Puppies broke up was because after all the time that we'd been in that band, when the time came for things to change, to the other members of the band was everything. And to me, Sick Puppies was a band. But I'm lucky, right? When I was a kid, I was abandoned as a kid. So I got used to the concept of regular change, significant change.
Did you say I'm lucky?
Yeah.
And then your next sentence, I was abandoned as a kid?
Yeah. I'm serious, man.
Okay, no, I'm with you.
Look, one of the benefits is that it sort of wires you to accept change much quicker.
Well, you grow up faster, yeah.
You grow up faster, and you see, like, when the significant relationships in your life end at an earlier stage than they're supposed to. Now, do I invest in new relationships? Or do you invest in new relationships knowing in reality they will end at some point? Regardless of how it happens, regardless of who's wrong, who's to blame, what happened, any of that stuff, things end. So whenever I was in Sick Puppies, I put 1,000,000% of myself into the band. I wrote the songs with all of my passion and energy, all that good stuff. That's why the songs sound the way they did. That's why the fans related to the songs the way that they did. But there was no time where I didn't go, okay, I probably won't be doing this when I'm 45, 55. There will come a time when this will be over and I will do something else. I really do think that if we had been able to sit down, as painful as it would have been, and just try to resolve the situation, even if it was like, okay, we'll have separate managers, if we can figure out a reason to keep going, the band would have kept going. But because we didn't, and because we both got real angry and real, like, in the litigation part of it, we were pretty hostile, both sides. It was like, nah, gloves off, let's go. We both just went at it. So when the time came for the band to end, and we had to discuss things like, what are we going to do? How are we going to split things up? Are we going to take a break? Are we going to try to revisit this in 6 months to a year? What are we going to do? The way that the other side acted kind of felt like they went, no, this is ours. We're going to keep it hell or high water. Instead of, hey, let's sit down and talk about it, it turned into, well, we're going to find another guy.
When did you leave the band?
Yeah, that's the weird thing, right? That was the big question, right? Shim, when did you quit? I never quit. When did they kick you out of the band? Well, they didn't technically kick me out of the band. The reason that we were fighting was because I believed that legally they weren't allowed to just kick me out, right? They felt that they had grounds. I didn't feel they had grounds. That was why there was lawyers involved. The weirdest thing is, I found out that I wasn't in Sick Puppies through a post on Facebook from my band's Facebook page.
Oh, shit.
I had been accepted to a songwriting camp in Canada where I wrote my first #1 song on iTunes, which was called Wasted Love. The Monday morning, I saw the post from the band. Shim is no longer in the band. We don't know what we're going to be doing moving forward, but we'll keep you posted. That was it. It was just, Shim's no longer in the band. And then I'm supposed to go into this room with big heavyweight songwriters that are like, cool, let's start working. And I had to keep up. And I had nothing. And for the first 3 days, it was humiliating. I couldn't come up with anything. And then finally, I wrote the lyrics for Wasted Love. And the chorus for that is, has anybody seen all my wasted love? And for me, it was like, I can't, as I'm remembering it, it's starting to come up in me. I can feel it. I remember thinking, all of the love and energy and passion that I put into this band for 15 years is a waste. It's gone. I not only do I not have anything to show for it, I don't have my band, I don't have access to my socials, I can't access my fans, I don't know what's going to happen to my music, I don't know what's going to happen to myself as a career artist. I was like this, like I'm talking to you now. I'm stuttering and I'm like, what am I going to do? It was the worst, man. It was so bad. And that's not to say that things weren't bad on their end. I remember thinking afterwards, not straight away, but afterwards I was like, what must they be thinking and feeling to be doing this stuff? To think that it's okay to just go whoosh, and not even make a phone call, or even through the lawyers, and just say, we're going to be doing this on Monday so that you know. You know?
Yeah, that's strange.
It was just, hey, I'm doing this awesome thing. I'm really excited about it. And then it was like someone ripped my heart out. It was literally, I felt my whole insides vanish. I remember it wasn't even pain, it was numb. But then I was like, that's my band. And I just read on my band's Facebook page that I'm not in that band anymore. And my first thought was, well, who the f am I now? I already wrote music that wasn't for Sick Puppies. I would write songs that I knew weren't going to be in that band. And there was always a point of contention whenever that would come up. There was always this weird vibe whenever they would hear me singing a song that wasn't for Sick Puppies. They'd just be this kind of negative vibe. And that's why towards the end we didn't really talk. One of the main reasons that the band didn't talk to each other for the last few years, because there wasn't really that much positive to talk about outside of the band. We'd talk about the band and the work the band was going to do, and then we would not talk about anything else, because it just became easier to operate that way, right? Everything was going right when I was in Sick Puppies at the end, and it was miserable because I was around the wrong people. For 2 years, it was do the shows, do everything you got to do, and then as soon as the show's done, get on the bus and stop talking. Because I lost my voice a couple times on the first tour, and they were like, okay, we've got to retain his voice, because if he can't sing, no one can work. So imagine 2 years of just not talking to anyone. I remember telling people, I don't know how to create a space for myself in this environment for my mental health. But the thing is, you get used to it. After a couple of years, you get used to, well, this is how it works. And when you start to have a hit and then another hit and then a platinum record, you can't complain. You can't, no, who's going to listen to you? The irony is, I think part of the reason that I was such a good frontman is because that compressed energy would suddenly explode as soon as I could get on stage. I was like, I'm allowed to talk. Lose it, man. There was a point where the lawyers came back and they were like, listen, it's up to you, but you can stop now. We've got a decent situation negotiated for you. And I was like, no, this isn't what I set out to achieve. I'm not done yet. I've got one more play. And that moment was defining for me, because I remember thinking, I've come this far, I've fought this fight, it's been 2 years. At some point, my kid's gonna come to me when they're 10, 15, 25, and they're gonna say, Dad, I'm in the middle of a fight, and I'm tired and I'm spent, and I don't know if I should just bow out and cut my losses, or if I should fight for what I believe I am worth. And I'm not gonna be able to conduct that conversation the same way if I bow out now. Whereas if I fight, because money comes and money goes. But if I fight through and stick to what I believe I'm worth and stay by my value, no matter what happens, no matter if I am destroyed, I'll be able to have that conversation with my kid once I am repaired. And I'll be able to show them the blueprint of how to recover. I'm surprised it took me 6 years to really talk about the puppy stuff, but I think it's just because it's been enough time now. I'm surprised anyone even cares.
How come you went so long without saying anything?
Well, there's two main reasons. The day that I found out, I called Nigel Skeet because I was distraught. And the first piece of advice that he gave me was take the high road. And the high road wound up being to remain silent, because there was not much else positive to say about the situation while I was in it. It was the most painful thing that I'd ever been through. And to the other side's credit, they didn't really say anything either. And I think they saw the legacy in the same light that I saw it, which is one of the only things that we ever had in common. All I need to do is make one wrong move, and the legacy of the band is destroyed. People tell me still that they play all the same at their wedding or their reunion. People say they play You're Going Down before they go on the field for whatever. If they find out that the singer of that band is just this prick, they can't listen to the music the same way anymore. And even though I'm not a prick, if I was just to say one thing out of context and have them go, oh, I guess he is a prick, you know, because they catch that one thing, because that's publicized when things are hot. The band broke up. What's people saying? You know, it ruins everything. I'm actually really, really, really happy. I got a happy, healthy family. I got my freedom. I'm proud of how I handled the situation when it went down with Sick Puppies. I'm proud of how I went through it. I'm proud of the fact that I fought for my rights. I didn't give up, and I fought for as long as I could until it was time to finish. And that defines who I am as a person and as an artist. And the music that I make now, that music exists because of what I did with Sick Puppies and how I stood up for myself at the end of Sick Puppies.